Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into one of the absolute most revered figures in all of Hindu mythology, Lord Hanuman. Whether you're a history buff, a mythology enthusiast, or honestly, just someone who loves a truly epic story, you're in the right place. We're going to trace his entire path, from ancient myth right up to the super vibrant devotion we see today. Let's get into it.
So, here's a quick look at our agenda for today. We'll start with his origins and that extraordinary childhood, then move on to his role as the hero of the Ramayana. After that, we'll unpack the symbolism, devotion, and power behind his story, check out his incredible temples and enduring legacy, and finally, wrap things up with the Hanuman Chalisa.
All right, Chapter 1, Origins and Extraordinary Childhood.
So, when we look at ancient scriptures like the Puranas, they actually give us this really fascinating dual account of his divine parentage. On one side, the Shaiva tradition reveres Hanuman as an avatar of Lord Shiva, but then on the flip side, the Vaishnava tradition honors him as the spiritual son of Vayu, the wind god. What's really beautiful here, though, is the consensus. Both of these major traditions totally agree that he was born on Earth to his mother, Anjana, and the Vanara chief, Kesari.
Now, you might be wondering about his name. Hanuman is actually a Sanskrit term that translates to disfigured jaw. And this is literally a permanent record of a famous childhood mistake. Imagine this. One morning, a very young, very hungry Hanuman mistook the blazing sun for a ripe, delicious fruit. So what does he do? He literally leaps into the sky to eat it. To maintain cosmic order, Indra, the king of gods, had to step in and struck the child down with his thunderbolt. Hanuman fell back to earth, lifeless, with a broken jaw.
Naturally, his father, the wind god Vayu, was absolutely devastated. In his grief, he withdrew all the air from the world. No way anyone could survive that, right? So, to save all living beings, the gods rushed to resuscitate the child, and they ended up showering him with these just incredible boons. I mean, think about this. Indra granted him immunity to weapons. Agni gave him immunity to fire, and Varuna immunity to water. Vayu gave him the speed of the wind itself, and Brahma gave him the ability to travel absolutely anywhere. He was virtually unstoppable. But he was still a kid. He used these immense new powers to play pranks on meditating sages. So for that, he was cursed to forget his powers entirely until someone reminded him of them in adulthood. Basically, the ultimate cosmic timeout.
Moving right along, Chapter 2, the hero of the Ramayana.
Hanuman's journey as Lord Rama's ultimate warrior is just incredibly action-packed. It kicks off on day 1 when he meets Lord Rama in Kishkinda. Fast forward a bit, and the search for Rama's kidnapped wife Sita kind of hits a dead end. But day 2 brings a huge turning point. The wise bear Jambavan reminds Hanuman of those forgotten childhood boons we just talked about. With the curse finally lifted, Hanuman leaps completely across the ocean on day 3. By day 4, he discovers Sita Mata in Lanka. Day 5, he burns the enemy city to the ground with his blazing tail. And on day 6, he literally fetches the entire Sanjeevani mountain to save Rama's injured brother. It is a wild, heroic ride. Now, let's zoom in on that moment he finally found Sita, who was imprisoned in a grove in Lanka. To sneak in unnoticed, Hanuman had shrunk himself down to the size of a tiny ant. So naturally, when this tiny being presented himself as Rama's messenger, Sita was pretty skeptical. She actually wondered, how can there be a relationship between men and monkeys? To prove his identity and his capability, Hanuman abandoned that tiny form and expanded himself into the size of a blazing, radiant mountain. He showcased his absolute unwavering power just to reassure her that yes, help had arrived.
The source texts reveal a really incredible perspective on these jaw-dropping physical feats. His legendary leaps, they aren't just seen as simple myths, they are actually analyzed as a metaphor for something called divine aerodynamics. Ancient Vedic science views his flight as a masterclass in yogic life force energy, or prana. It's the idea of completely freeing the physical body from gravity, generating vibrations that modern physics might even compare to a supersonic boom. Pretty wild stuff. And you know, this awe-inspiring heroism is captured so vividly throughout classical Indian literature and art. Across all these different regional texts, he's depicted facing just countless formidable demons, from tricksters like Kalanimi to massive sea monsters. But here's the key takeaway. He always uses his razor-sharp intellect just as much as his physical brawn to secure victory for Lord Rama. He wasn't just muscle, he was a brilliant strategist.
Okay, Chapter 3, Symbolism, Devotion, and Power.
A really crucial concept to wrap our heads around here is Chiranjeevi. It basically means an immortal being.
According to the tradition, just before Lord Rama departs from the earth, Hanuman is blessed to live on as a Chiranjeevi, meaning he remains an immortal presence, listening to and watching over humanity for literally as long as the story of Rama is recited on earth. Hindu texts also do this beautiful job of contrasting his physical form with his radiant soul. You have Kurup, which means physically unappealing, referencing him as a monkey with a disfigured jaw. But then you have Sundar, meaning divinely beautiful. It's this powerful reminder that his true strength doesn't come from his muscles or his looks. It stems entirely from his pure, selfless devotion, his profound humility, and his inner discipline. To really grasp the sheer scale of his cosmic power, we have to talk about the Panchamukhi, or the five-faced form. During the war in Lanka, this powerful demon named Mahidevana kidnapped Rama and dragged him down to the netherworld. To defeat him, Hanuman had to simultaneously extinguish 5 heavily guarded lamps that were facing in 5 totally different directions. So what does he do? He assumes this incredible multi-deity form. He manifests the faces of Lord Narasimha, Adivaraha, Garuda, and Hayagriva alongside his own and just completely obliterates the enemy. It's a true flex of divine power. Now, here is a piece of trivia that I find absolutely fascinating. Believe it or not, after appearing in the epic Mahabharata to meet his spiritual brother Bhima, scriptures suggest Hanuman vanished from public view for 2,568 years. Yeah, over 2 millennia. He didn't reveal his true form again until he finally met the legendary poet and saint Tulsidas way later in the 16th century.
Which brings us perfectly to Chapter 4, Temples and Enduring Legacy.
Temples dedicated to Lord Hanuman are incredibly geographically diverse and often structurally massive. For example, down at the Sanket Mochan Temple in Varanasi, his idol looks directly at Lord Rama. Up in the freezing Himalayas in Shimla, the Jakku Temple features a towering 108-foot idol right where he's believed to have rested on his journey for the Sanjeevani mountain. And then in Allahabad, the Bade Hanuman Ji Temple actually houses a massive 20-foot underground idol in a reclining position. Get this, the river Ganga rises to touch his feet there every single year.
Naturally, devotees absolutely flock to these sacred sites, especially during huge festivals like Hanuman Jayanti. They often pray to Sankat Mochan, which translates to one who relieves us from troubles. People from all walks of life completely trust his immense power to dissolve their daily struggles, cure illnesses, and even ward off the negative effects of tricky planetary alignments. And if you want to see what modern, unwavering devotion really looks like, look no further than the Bala Hanuman Temple in Gujarat. It actually holds a Guinness World Record. Devotees there have maintained the unbroken, continuous chanting of Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, day and night, without a single pause, since August 1st, 1964. Literally decades of steadfast devotion. All right, that leads us into our final section, Chapter 5, the Hanuman Chalisa. So the Chalisa was written by Saint Tulsidas after he finally got to meet Hanuman face-to-face in 1570 CE. He deliberately composed it in the very accessible Awadhi language so that everyday people, not just scholars, could read it. The word Chalisa literally means 40, representing its 40 quatrains or verses. Today, millions of people recite this hymn daily to praise his wisdom, his courage, his celibacy, and to seek his spiritual protection. It's essentially a daily shield for his devotees. When we zoom out and look at all these stories together, a really profound truth emerges. Hanuman's devotion isn't just some passive emotion. It's an active, highly effective process. It proves that when the individual ego completely steps aside in absolute humility and service, it unlocks limitless, world-changing power. So we want to leave you with this final thought. If Hanuman's limitless strength, speed, and intelligence were unlocked entirely through his selfless devotion and total lack of ego, how can you harness even a fraction of that unwavering, ego-free energy in your own life to achieve the extraordinary? Take a second and think about what you are truly devoted to. Thank you so much for joining us on this explainer, and as always, keep exploring.